to see you. The teddy bear are here to play. If you don't come play with us, then we will kill you.
Annie has lived nearly her whole life without sight. She lost her sight when she was 5 years old and has forgotten almost everything from when she could see. She's had to rely on her other senses to do anything. To be honest, not being able to see didn't really bother her. She wished she could remember what color was, and she wished she didn't get made fun of so much. But besides all that, she actually kind of liked it. It was comfortable. That's why when her doctor told her she was eligible for a surgery that would restore her sight, she refused to do it. She understood she was missing out on some things, but she was happy with how she was. Her family loved her for who she was, and she had lived her whole life in darkness. While that might seem sad to some people, Annie didn't want it any other way. If she got her eyesight restored, she'd have to learn how to read, how to drive, how to get around using her eyesight and not her touch or hearing. It seemed too overwhelming for her, so she decided against the surgery. At first, anyway. I'm just having a hard time understanding why you want to be able to see. Annie's mom's voice came from behind her. Yeah, if you can see, then you'll be able to play video games with me. Her little brother's voice was to her right. If I had my eyesight, Annie said, carefully feeling around for her fork, then I wouldn't waste my time playing Halo Wars 2: Awakening the Night. Hey, that's a classic. It came out in 2017. What your brother and mom are saying, her dad was to her left, is that we're just worried about you. You could do so many great things if you could see. I can do great things blind, too. Annie found her fork and brought it to her plate, trying to find the scrambled eggs. Of course you can, but imagine what life would be like if you could see, her father continued, sounding tired. Annie found the eggs and scooped them up, bringing her fork to her mouth. She could smell the spicy pepper and bits of bacon her mother had mixed into them. You could see color, you could drive, or be able to get around on your own. I can get around on my own. Annie started to get defensive. I'm blind, not paralyzed. We know that, sweetie. Her mom was now in front of her. We just want what's best for you. Who's to say being blind isn't what's best for me? Her family fell silent. Annie sighed and stood up from the table. She reached for her cane and unfolded it. I'm going to be late for school. Just think about it, okay? Her mom sounded tired too. Annie paused for a moment. Okay, I will. She stepped around the chair and held her cane in front of her as she headed toward the door. The air outside was cold, and Annie could hear cars drive by just a few feet to her right, their frozen engines and squeaking brakes. A warm furnace-like smell wafted in the air. It was the beginning of a cold autumn season, and many people had started turning on their heaters and fireplaces in the morning. Annie could smell a faint scent of rain, and she knew it was going to rain at some point today. She wondered what the rain looked like. Annie stopped as she felt her cane hit the bumpy tracks at the end of the sidewalk. This was the third crosswalk from her house. She had reached her bus stop. More kids started to arrive and waited with her, but they didn't talk to her. She recognized the voices and could tell who they were, but she didn't have the confidence to talk to them. They had never bothered to talk to her, so why should she? She thought for a moment, though. Would that be different if she could see? Just then, Annie heard the squealing brakes and roaring engine of her school bus turn down her road. She took a deep breath and straightened her posture. The bus's engine whined as it stopped, and Annie could feel the heat radiate off of it. She heard the doors open, and she carefully stepped forward, reaching out for the bus. She found the door and stepped inside, welcoming the heat that hit her face. She used her hands to guide herself to an empty seat as kids laughed and screamed around her. It was annoying. Hey, Annie, over here! Annie perked up at the voice and started towards it. She felt a kind hand grab her arm and guide her down to her seat. Glad you're back. I missed you, the voice said. I was only gone for a day. Annie folded up her cane. Yeah, but I still missed you. Where were you, anyway? Annie was quiet for a moment. I had a doctor's appointment. Her friend didn't say anything for a while, probably feeling awkward and not wanting to press. Hey, Anthony? Annie broke the silence between them. I had a question. Yeah? What is it? What does rain look like? What does rain look like? Well, I don't know how to answer that one. Annie felt her face fall. There was another brief pause. Rain looks like, Anthony started, like the ocean is in the sky. The clouds are dark and wavy, and water pours down and drenches everything. Rain looks like how a cold shower feels. Annie tilted her head at the last part. Rain looks like how a cold shower feels. She rested her head on the bus seat and thought about her parents' voices this morning and how tired they sounded. Annie walked back home quickly after school, carefully counting the sidewalks and number of steps she took. The first thing she did when she got home was get undressed and get in the shower. She stood in it for a long moment, then turned the water to cold. Her body shivered at the sudden temperature change, and she clenched her teeth. She could feel each individual drop of water, feel as it dripped her hair and cascaded down her body, till it froze her face and fingertips. After a few minutes, she finally turned off the water and stepped out of the shower, wrapping a towel around her body. She heard someone knock on the door. "Annie, are you okay? What are you doing in the shower so early?" Her mom's muffled voice came from the other side. Annie opened the door just a crack, then said, "I want to get the surgery." Annie was surprised by how unenthusiastic her family sounded when she announced she wanted to try the surgery. They kept saying things like, "Are you sure you want to?" and "They don't even know if it will work," and "Maybe let's not give your hopes up." They were the ones who were insisting she get it in the first place. Maybe they were just scared for her? But she insisted, and made an appointment with her doctor the next day. Annie wished she hadn't gotten the surgery. They took the bandages off at her house. Her family was the first thing she was supposed to see, but they didn't say anything as they removed the bandages. "Well?" her mother asked. "I can't see." Everything resumed like normal after that. Annie used her cane to guide her wherever she walked. She was given special books and homework assignments. She tried to use her other senses to get around or do activities, and she did her best to act the same around the people living in her house. She's had to pretend to not be able to see, that the surgery didn't work. She's had to force herself to call the woman that feeds her mom and the boy that makes her play with him her little brother. Annie doesn't remember much from when she could first see, but based on what she does remember, these people are not her family.